So today we're here at a conference of about 200 people. We're down in the Whitechapel area, just a few miles from the Royal London Hospital. The reason why we're here today is to talk about the massive growing problem of knife crime and what people understand about knife crime and how it affects them and how they feel. A lot of people believe whatever they see in the news and not understand the backdrop and some of the causes of knife crime and why a lot of young people and adults carry knife. And for me, someone that's worked in the field for over 20 years on the front line and also as a director around the country, I think that I'm well averse to say many of the people that I've come across, whether in the trauma hospitals or meeting them when I'm moving them across the country to safe houses, a lot of them carry knives because they are fearful. I repeat that. A lot of them are fearful. Maybe their friends have been stabbed or they've been stabbed before. And because of that, they then decide that they would be more safer to carry a weapon. A lot of you out there might be thinking, watching this, why not call the police? Why not talk to a friend? And that will be the first reaction and instinct, to call 999 and ask for help. But then you call the police. The police are limited to what they can do to support you and make sure that you and your family are safe. They could offer you a fireproof letterbox in case someone decides to throw petrol or other accelerant through your letterbox. They could also offer you a panic alarm, which will come as a form of a light switch, and the police will then rush to your house if someone's actually trying to break in. They could treat all calls as urgent. A lot of the time, you're not going to get those facilities or support mechanism unless you give up a perpetrator. And by you doing that, the police will then go out and arrest the person or persons, friends and groups. And then you have a whole different problem. Within the community, one of the things that people are against is calling the police. There's something called snitches get stitches. And that deters a lot of people to mind their own business and pretend they don't see that someone's life is at risk. And this is when people then take the law into their own hands because they believe that they have to protect themselves. So we know what the problem is. A lot of you might say, all right, we have heard this before, but what's the solutions? The solution is to have the conversation from early and around the conversation, not just with the individuals that are stabbing or getting stabbed. It's about the community as a whole, and we're talking about family members, we're talking about religious groups, and we're talking about the police officers themselves. How do you engage with someone if they're at risk? Why not provide them with the support systems without them giving you a name? And this is, I think, one of the biggest problems that we have, where people have to get someone arrested to get help. And I've seen cases where people have gone to prison and after 5 years they come out and murder the person that has given them up. 20 years down the line, you could still be at risk because a lot of time the support that's offered to families and individual only extend as long as the case is going on. After that, it's not our business. You could be relocated somewhere else without any protection. So we must understand this narrative of people carrying knives and people stabbing each other is because there's this dark mist or music. We've got rock and roll people biting off the heads of bats and carrying knives themselves. We don't hear people talking about rock and roll or jazz or opera music that some people might listen to before they leave their house in Chelsea to go out with a machete to the carnival. So we need to understand that this narrative that's pushed in the news, that young people and anyone carrying knives are just carrying it to murder people. A lot of these fatalities are accidental, not on purpose. Yeah, did you know that the pandemic or epidemic of knife crime has increased over the past 5 years? A lot of people would have thought that with the COVID, knife crime would have reduced, but the lockdown didn't make much difference to knife crime stats. I know that will surprise a lot of you, because a lot of the young people didn't abide by the rules of staying at home, and we have to understand that a lot of people are not reporting stabbings as stabbings. They're saying they fell off their bike, they were climbing over a fence, or they fell on some glass. And unless young people admit what actually happened to them, a lot of the time the surgeons will struggle to document it as a stabbing. They can see that all the